Hello guys and welcome to my YouTube channel Bright CMA. I am CMA Jatin Gupta. So first of all, sorry to all of you because I am uploading my video after a long time, approx 2 or 3 weeks, because I am busy in an audit, so that's why I am unable to upload any video. So sorry for that. So we will continue our custom series. So in this series, the third part is valuation under custom. So let's start the video. So valuation under custom, it covers under section 14, valuation of imported and exported goods. Whenever we are importing or exporting goods, so we charge the custom duty on the value of import and export goods. Okay. So how we will calculate the value, this value of imported and exported goods? So valuation of imported and exported goods is categorized under two parts. The first one is section 14 subsection 1 transaction value and another is tariff value. So what is transaction value? So whenever we are buying or selling any goods, so the value of that transaction is called transaction value. So normally on the amount of that transaction is we will consider as accessible value. Okay, but in the tariff value, to charge custom duty there are other parameters to for charging a custom duty like weight, length, distance. So these types of things are the parameters to charge custom duty under tariff value. Approximate all goods are covered under section 14 subsection 1. This is transaction value, and a few items like crude palm oil, crude palmolene, soybean oil, brass scrap, poppy seeds, etc. are covered under tariff value. Okay. So first thing is valuation of imported goods. So in the valuation of imported goods, the rule 1 is the title, custom valuation rule 2017, determination of value of imported goods. The second rule is the definition of various terms like transaction value, relatives, computed value, deductive value, similar goods and identical goods. So rule 2 covers the definition part. The valuation part starts from the rule 3. So basically rule 3 we will study with the rule 10. Okay. So whenever we are valuing any goods, we also apply rule 10 with this. So in this rule there are few conditions. If we satisfy these conditions, only then we can value our imported goods under rule 3. The first condition is seller should not have any control on the imported goods. Okay. So after importing the goods, the exporter, the seller, he has no right on that goods. If we are satisfying this condition, only then we can value our goods under rule 3. The second condition is the price, the sale price must be the sole consideration. Okay, so the consideration for that transaction is only money. Third condition is sale proceeds should not be shared with exporter by the importer after sale. So after importing the goods by the importer cannot share the part of his sale proceeds with exporter. Okay, if we are satisfying this condition, there is one more condition, which is the buyer and the seller should not be related. So we have to satisfy all these four conditions to come under rule 3. I will repeat these conditions. First is seller should not have any control in imported goods. Price is the sole consideration. Importer cannot share any part of his sale proceeds with exporter, and the buyer and sellers both are not related parties. Okay. After satisfying these conditions, we will value our value of the imported goods under rule 3. So I'll show you how we can compute our accessible value of imported goods. This is the statement in which we will calculate our accessible value. Okay, so it starts with the factory of the exporter. Okay, so whatever is the cost at factory level of the export, we will consider first that and in that we will add our carriage, freight, and insurance charges, which is paid by the exporter to send his shipment to the port. Okay. After that, any charges paid by exporter for loading of the goods to the ship or aircraft is also added in the goods. So after adding these expenditure into the cost of product, it the cost which is coming, we call it as free on board, because exporter is free from his all liabilities after loading of the goods. That's why we are calling it free on boards. After this, exporter has no liability, monetary liability on these goods. Okay. So after this, we will add few or things if they are not added in this value, which is comes under rule 10. That's why I'm saying key rule 3 we will study with rule 10. Okay. So as per rule 10, we will add any commission and brokerage, but excluding buying commission which is paid by the buyer, which is paid by the importer. Okay. Packing cost, excluding the those packing cost which is durable or refundable packing, like container, big boxes. So these packing cost is not the part of the free on board value. Cost of engineering development and plan or sketches undertaken outside India. If you are paying any engineering cost outside India, not within India, outside India, so we will add that expense, that cost also in our value. Royalty and license fees, value of subsequent resale if payable to the foreign supplier, value of material supplied by the buyer free of cost. If we are paying anything from the resale amount to the to the exporter, or any goods, any material free of cost to the exporter, so that is also a consideration which is not in the monetary terms, which is not in the form of money, but this is also a consideration. So we will also add this in our FOB value to reach out the FOB value which is as per custom. Okay. So as per custom, after adding all these things, the FOB value is derived for as per custom. Okay. So what we will add extra: commission and brokerage except buying commission, packing cost except cost of durable and refundable packing, cost of engineering development etc., which is taken outside India, not inside India, royalty and license fees, value of subsequent resale to the foreign supplier, and material supplied by the buyer free of cost to the exporter. Okay. So after reaching to the FOB value as per custom, we will add freight charges, ship demurrage charges, lighterage or barrage charges, and insurance charges to reach out the CIF, cost, insurance and freight value. We will also call it as accessible value. We will discuss how much cost of freight and insurance we need to add in this. There is a separate rule for this to calculate cost of freight and cost of insurance. Other cost we will add as it is. Whatever is given in the question, whatever is the reality, we will add. But to add cost of freight and insurance, we need to check few condition of this. So first of all, we will discuss how much insurance charges we need to add. Okay. So if insurance charges are given in the question, so we will add that as it is. If in the question it is given as 1,000 rupees, $1,000, whatever it is, we will add that insurance charges as it is. If no insurance charges amount is given in the question, then we will consider 1.125% on FOB as an insurance charges. Okay, I'll repeat. If the insurance charges are given in the question, we will add that as it is. Otherwise, we will add 1.125% of FOB as an insurance charges to reach out the SCIF value or accessible value. Okay, it is very easy. Okay, let's move to the another slides. The other point is freight charges. So freight charges we will divide in the two parts. First is sea freight and another is air freight. Okay, so if air freight is given in the question, okay, so we will check one condition, that air freight should not be more than 20% of FOB value. What I mean? I mean actual freight and 20% of FOB, whichever is less, is our freight charges. For what? For air freight only. If it is the situation of sea freight, if it is in the given in the question, we will take actual sea freight. If it is not given in the question, we will take 20% of FOB. Okay. But in case of air freight, we will always check this condition, like actual freight and 20% of FOB, whichever is less, we will add that as our freight charges. Let's take an example. If our actual air freight is 1000 rupees and 20% of FOB is 800 rupees, so our freight charges for this calculation of CIF is 800. 1800, whichever is less, it means 800 is our freight charges. If actual freight charges is 800 and 20% of FOB is 1000, then what will be the freight charges? It should be 800. Okay, so whichever is less, we will consider that only for air freight. But in case of sea freight, if it is given in the question, we will take as it is. But if it is not given in the question, we will take 20% of FOB only for sea freight. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead. So in the import valuation, there are other rules. If we are not able to evaluate our uh, amount of imported goods, the value accessible value for imported goods. So other rules are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In these rules, we will calculate our value of imported goods. Like the rule 4 is transaction value of identical goods. Now what are the identical goods? First question is, so identical goods means the goods must be same in all respect including physical quantity. It is equal, it is totally identical with other goods. Like I will take an example, Splendor and Passion, both are the motorcycle of Hero company. Okay, so both of them are identical goods. But if we'll take Splendor of Hero and Pulsar of Bajaj, so these are not identical goods because the manufacturer of both the motor vehicles are different. Okay, so if we have our identical goods, so we have to satisfy few conditions to take the transaction value of identical goods as our accessible value. So the first condition is the identical goods can be compared with other goods of the same country from which import takes place. So we are easily able to compare identical goods, other goods with these identical goods. Okay. Another condition is these goods must be valued at the price which is produced by the same manufacturer. Okay. So we have to take the price of the manufacturer, like Hero, Splendor and Hero Passion. We are importing Splendor as our Splendor is our imported goods and we don't have any value for this. So what we will take? We will take the price of Passion, or that price is decided by the manufacturer. Okay. The third condition is if the price is not available, then the price of other manufacturer of the same country is to be taken into account. Like what this line it means. Like there are two plants of Hero in the USA. Okay, we are buying from the X location. Okay, and the price of that goods is not available. So then we will take another manufacturer. I know the company is same, but the location is different. So the both unit are different manufacturers. Okay, both have different license. So that's why we call it a different manufacturer. But the principal company is same. Okay, so we can take that price for the calculation of our accessible value for the goods. The fourth is if more than one value of identical goods is available, lowest of such value should be taken. If we have two values, so we will take the lowest one. Okay, so the what are the four conditions? The identical goods can be compared with other goods of the same country from which we are importing, and these goods must be valued at the price of the manufacturer of the same country. If price is not available, then we will take other manufacturer of the same country, but not from the different country. The manufacturer should be from the same country. And if we have more than two values, then we will take the lowest one. The next rule is transaction value of similar goods. If we don't have any identical goods, then we will take the transaction value of similar goods as our accessible value. So the transaction value shall not include provisionally assessed value. Okay. And same commercial level or same quantity. Adjustment for differences. Adjustment for differences in the transportation cost. When multiple values are available, lowest to be adopted. What these lines are mean? Like similar goods, what is the meaning of similar goods? So similar goods, basically, you can take an example of Maggi and Yippee. So both are noodles, but both are from different manufacturer. Like Maggi is manufactured by Nestle and Yippee is manufactured by ITC. But the characteristics, the purpose of both the product is similar. So we can say that Maggi and Yippee are the similar goods. Okay, if we are importing Maggi from the USA and we don't have the price of that good, so we can also take the transaction value of Yippee. Okay, but the value of that Yippee should not be provisionally assessed, it should be the transaction value of that good. Okay, the commercial level or is should be equal. Like if we are calculating, if we are importing the Maggi of 10,000 kgs, so then we will compare the same quantity of Yippee. Okay, if the quantity or if the commercial level are not same, then we have to adjust that, because due to the difference commercial level, the price can be changed. Like basically we can say that for higher the quantity, the seller can give the quantity discount to the buyer. So we have to ensure that our level of quantity, level of commercial should be equal. Okay, we will also add any transportation cost. If is there any differences due to the transportation cost, we will also adjust that to reach out the equal commercial level. Okay, so after all these adjustment, we have two values, then we will take the lowest one as similar as to identical goods. Okay, in exams, many times the difference between identical goods and similar goods comes. Okay, so what is the difference between identical and similar goods? Like identical goods must be same in all respect except for minor difference in appearance. There is a only minor difference in appearance, like its color is blue and the identical goods color is black. Okay, so there is normally a minor difference in appearance only. Here's the example of it, like Hero Honda two-wheeler products, namely Splendor and Passions. Okay, what is the similar goods? Goods have like characteristics and component and perform same functions. We call it as similar goods, like Hero Honda Splendor and Bajaj scooter, like Nestle Maggi and ITC ZPs. So these are the similar goods. Okay, I hope it's clear. Let's go ahead to the next slides. Rule 6, determination of value. It is very simple. Rule 6 is very simple. If we are not able to calculate our accessible value from rule 1 to rule 5, then we will calculate our accessible value as per rule 7. Okay. If then we are not able to calculate our accessible value as per rule 7, then we will go to the rule 8. Okay. So what is our rule 7? Rule 7 is the deductive value. Okay. So what we are doing in this rule, we are taking the selling price of the goods, and from that selling price we are reducing our profit, our selling and distribution expenses, our all expenditure and profit after post importation. We will reduce all these things from the selling price to reach out the accessible value of for the purpose of custom. Okay, any expenditure which we incurred after the importation and profit, we reduce that from the selling price, the MRP. Then we will reach out to the accessible value of that imported goods. Okay, so basis on the request of the importer, if the custom officer approves, either deductive method or computed value method as the case may be can be adopted. Deductive method is the rule 7 and computed value method is the rule 8. So in the deductive method, what we are doing, we are calculating the we are accessible is calculated by reducing the post importation cost and expenses from the selling price. Okay, so now coming to the rule 8 computed value, if we are not able to calculate or our accessible value, then the rule 8 comes. So what we are doing in this, we are simply calculating the cost of the product. Okay, so the what it consists, it consists the cost or value of material and fabrication or other processing charges like energy, subcontracting labor. We are adding all these things to reach out the cost of the product of that good. Then we will add our profit and general expenses. Then the value which is coming, we will take that as our accessible value. Okay, but that accessible value cannot exceed the normal price of the goods. Okay, so our rule 8 is completed. The another rule is rule 9 residual method. It is simply best judgment method. There is no specific, so the officer on his best judgment assess the value of the goods. Okay, this method is applicable when all aforesaid method are not applicable. The value determined under this method cannot exceed the normal prices. No value shall be on the basis of all these methods like selling price of goods produced in India, highest of two alternative values, domestic price in the country of the export, export price to another country, cost of production, minimum custom values. So we will not take any of these based to reach out the accessible value as per residual value method. Okay, let's moving to the next slide. Now our valuation of imported goods is completed. So let's start valuation of exported goods. Valuation of export goods. So as we know that on most of our product there is no export duty, but still we need to calculate the accessible value. Why? Because it has some benefits like duty drawback. We have to calculate our accessible value to claim duty drawback. Export incentives, refund of SINVAT credit if any, payment of duty on export if like your goods are chargeable to export duty, then for that we need to calculate value of our exported goods, accessible value of our exported goods. Okay, so these rules comes under the custom valuation rules 2017, determination of value of exported goods. Okay. So presently we have export duty only on these following commodities like luggage leather, hides, skin and leather, snake skin and lamb skin, steel product, iron cores, chromium ores. So there are different rate for these, and we are charging iron ores and chromium ores as per the tariff, that is 300 per metric ton and 2000 per metric ton. So presently we have only these goods on which we are charging export duty. Moving to the next slide, refund of export duty. So how we can claim our refund export duty and what's the conditions? So for refund of export duty, we need to follow the following conditions. Like goods are re-imported within 1 year from the date of export. Like if you exported any goods, okay, and you paid export duty on that goods, so from the date of exportation you have to re-import that goods within 1 year. you cannot sell that goods, and you have to claim your refund within 6 months from the date of importation, from the date of clearance by the custom officer for importation. So you need to satisfy all these three conditions to claim export duty. Goods are re-imported within 1 year from the date of export. These goods are not for resale. Refund claim is lodged within 6 months from the date of clearance by the custom officer. From the date of clearance by the custom officer for re-importation. Okay, I hope it's clear. So our valuation of imported goods and exported goods is completed. So let's take an example how we are calculating the accessible value for the purpose of calculation of custom duty. BSA and company have imported a machine from UK. From the following particulars furnished by them, arrive at the accessible value for the purpose of custom duty payable. What are the information? FFB cost of machine 10,000 UK pound, freight 3,000 UK pound, engineering and design charges paid to a firm in UK 500 UK pound, material and components supplied by the buyer free of cost of value 20,000, licensing fees 20% of FOB cost, insurance 6,000 rupees, and buying commission paid by the buyer to his agent in UK 100 UK pound. So in the FOB cost we will add engineering and designing charges which is paid outside India. If the same is paid within India, then we will not add this, but it is paid outside India, we will add this 500 UK pounds to the FOB value to reach out the FOB value as per the custom. And also we will add material and components supplied by the buyer free of cost. Okay. License fees relating to the imported goods payable by the buyer as a condition of the sale 20% of the FOB cost. So this we will also add. Insurance paid to the insurance in India, we will add it as it is because it is given in the question. If it is not given in the question, we will add 1.125% of the FOB. And the freight, it is air freight, so we need to satisfy one condition. What is the condition? Actual freight and 20% of FOB, whichever is lower will be considered as freight charges. The last one is the buying commission paid by the buyer. We will not add buying commission, any buying commission. Simple buying commission we will add, but simple commission we will add, but we will not add any buying commission. Okay. Here are other particulars as well. The first one is the interbank exchange rate as added by the authorized dealer is 17 rupees 50 paisa per UK pound. Can we take this for our calculation of accessible value? No. The exchange rate should be as defined by the CBIC. So the CBIC has notified the rate for is 17 rupees 25 paisa per UK dollar. And importer paid 5,000 rupees toward the demurrage charges for delay in clearing the machine from the airport. We will not add this because it is from the at the end of the importer for delaying in the clearing of imported goods. So we will not add this in the accessible value. Other we will add. So let's come to the calculation. Our FOB value is 10,000 UK pound. We will add engineering and license fee 5,000 and 20% of FOB value like 2,000. So our 12,500 is our 12,500 UK pound is our FOB value, and we will convert this into the rupees by applying the CBIC rate, that is 17 rupees 25 paisa. And we will add 20% free material which is supplied by the buyer to the seller 20,000. Now 8,98,125 is our FOB value as per custom. We will add insurance which is 6,000. Now the only one cheese remains, air freight. Our air freight was 3,000 UK pound, which is more than 20% of the FOB value. So we will take only 20% of the FOB value as our freight charge, which is 1,79,625. So after adding all these expenses, our accessible value CIF value is 10,83,715. I hope guys now your all doubts are cleared related to valuation of goods under import or export. If you have any doubt, you can come to my WhatsApp group. The link of that WhatsApp group is given in the description. You can also contact me on my WhatsApp group on my Telegram channel. I am also mentioning my WhatsApp number in the description. You can reach out to me. Thank you so much for watching the video. Let's share this video with your all friends so that they can also enjoy the benefit of this video. Thank you so much once again.